Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the program. Today we're going to talk about the new Nazca geoglyphs that they've added to the record. If you guys don't know where the Nazca lines are, they are in southern Peru, right here on the map. Right here, number 2 here, is Nazca, the city, and then the lines itself, the ones that are most famous anyway, are found along here. And these are probably the most famous Nazca lines found pretty much in the 90s, back in 94, back when they only had about 30 that depicted mainly plants and various animals here, like these like small, what seems to be like a flightless bird or something here. And this most famous one, I think, is a spider. Well, they found 100 and some odd more. And about a few years ago, in a pretty public interview, I don't have the link, but you guys can probably find it. It was recently estimated that only 5% of all the Nazca geoglyphs were discovered. And at the time when he said that, I think there were only about like 160 at the time. This is like 2020, I think, or some odd, not too long ago. These Japanese researchers from Yamagata University, along with some local archaeologists, they don't specify exactly who, they were doing drone surveys and taking aerial images of the Nazca lines. This, I don't know if it's exactly this area, but this is one of the most, where most of them come out of. And you can try to zoom in and try to find them. But to the human eye, they've only been able to find so many. And then when they started using this AI-assisted analysis, they've really started to churn them out. They say that they've almost doubled the previous number using drone surveys and aerial images, 168 new geoglyphs. And right now they're at about 358 total geoglyphs that they've found. And they still think there's probably 90% or more out there still waiting to be discovered. And one interesting detail is that 50 of these depict humanoid figures. They've also found orcas and cats, snakes, and birds as well. In 1994, the 30 initial geoglyphs that they found, they didn't have any sort of humanoid depicted. Although I do think I think the monkey was one of the initial ones, one of those spider monkeys. The dates they give were allegedly created between 500 BC to 580. So there's like a 1,000-year window. But, you know, the dating's flawed. It's based on the clay pots they found near the lines, and that's about it. It's very similar to the date of Göbekli Tepe. There's this date, but that's only really dating the stuff around it. Who knows how long it had been standing there before then. For 30 years now, it's been heavily speculated what they are, who put them there. Is it extraterrestrial? It's got to be extraterrestrial because it's obviously pointing to the solar system and the stars above us. And, you know, there's been endless speculation. And no matter how many of these things we find, that's good and all, and that's fantastic. I hope we find all of them, but it still won't really answer the question. But, you know, that it makes that much more fun to speculate, I suppose. Anyway, the lines in the geoglyphs were created by removing rock and debris, so it revealed the contrasting color soil beneath. So when you see it from far away, the lines really do stand out. And it makes it difficult to find on the ground, which is probably why they've never been messed with by any of the tribes or whatever. And the thing about erosion, the erosion is not only preserving them in a way, but it's obscuring them further. So the programs have successfully picked out different patterns from the drone images that were provided. They've been able to process faster and more reliably than teams of humans. As for the explanation for the existence of these lines, the most cited explanation is that they were meant for the gods in the sky looking down on humans. I don't know exactly why, but that's the most common explanation given. Another theory, though, that I've heard a ton of is similar to that of the Orion correlation theory of the Giza pyramids, and that the geoglyphs were figures and patterns drawn for ritualistic and astronomical purposes. So like a star map of the solar system, or maybe just a way to reference from the vantage point on Earth how to read the sky and use it as like a reference point. And perhaps they probably thought what they did on Earth could somehow influence what's in the sky. I mean, that's part of the theory as well. And that from that point of view, it makes sense that the humans on the ground were to make these in the first place. They would go through all the trouble of making these because they really did think that they had some sort of say in how the cosmos would go. I suppose they felt like they had some sort of influence. That's part of the one of the other theories. Many other geoglyphs have correlations to the sky, such as Serpent Mound in North America, which has a correlation with the sunrise. And the other step pyramids in Mexico and Central America also have a correlation with the sun. So it's not out of the question. Even the monolithic sites in the rings in Armenia, they have a correlation with the sky as well. So that's nothing new under the sun, so to speak, in terms of that. So the Nazca lines probably is no different. So these are some of the new ones here. This is an obvious human figure. That's probably a beard. There are no arms, though, which is interesting. Here's a bigger version. You can see it's about 4 meters wide. Here's another one. This is like a snake. It's about, again, like probably 6 meters. Here's a bird, pretty big bird comparatively to the others. And this little cat thing also looks like it has a beard. So anyway, that about does it for this episode. Let me know in the comments what you think about these new geoglyphs, and I'll talk to you guys later.